All right, this thing is recording. What's going on, everybody? This is Donut with the Tempo Donut channel here. I am back in northern Idaho. I'm trying to fix my stuff right here. I actually got so used to walking in Europe, I actually decided to take this long route to this trail I'm always walking out here called English Point. It's a beautiful day. Seems to be a lot of traffic going by right now, which I'm kind of surprised by because it's still early in the morning. But I'm glad to be back. It's actually a little hard to be back, I must be honest. The adjustments have been a little bit strange. I woke up the other day because I flew in really late Thursday evening and crashed out. I ended up waking up at night and I just did not recognize the room. I was like, where the heck am I, man? You know, so I started off my journey about a month and a half ago, a little over the Czech Republic, and I ended up in Greece for a little bit. Hello. So I started off in the Czech Republic, I ended up in Greece, and then I ended up visiting some family in Miami, which was really amazing because that taught me the true gift of time. Got a chance to meet my niece for the first time, and she was a gorgeous kid who definitely left a big impression on my heart. And also I got a chance to see my grandma and my aunt and my cousin, which was great as well, but seeing my grandma was interesting because she's going to be turning 90 pretty soon, close up there anyway. And so it was funny to just see that generation of that age and then see the younger generation coming in the next. It was kind of interesting to me. And I just realized that time was truly a gift, if we treat it that way. Not something we got to be enslaved by, but it was truly, truly a gift, if we say it that way. Because it had been a while since I had seen them. It had been a few years. And just the gift itself, to be able to be there present with them, was truly, truly amazing. And I enjoy Miami too. I mean, a lot of action. The water was beautiful. Oh man, it was beautiful. Very warm water, very beautiful sun, very beautiful people, all the way around. Even in the Czech, even in Greece, I got no bad thing to say. And so when I got back, I kind of started dealing with some things that I left off with, sort of the residue. But when I was gone, I didn't stop working, as far as, work in the sense of, building on my business and building on my body and being creative and that kind of thing, which is fun work. It's not like, oh my God, I need to work today and be tied up into things I really don't want to do. It was the great work of, understanding and me being in this foreign place. It took a while for me to get adjusted. It took like 3 or 4 days. I was like, what the heck am I doing here? Like, what's the purpose of this? And I was sort of starting to sabotage myself with these old thoughts, and I just had to slow down, get into like a very deep meditative state and have everything, just disappear from me for a moment. And when I witnessed the real gift in front of me, I just took off. It was the flow. It was the flow of life. Things were calling me. I saw people, that were really beautiful. I had incredible interactions with a lot of people. I met some new friends in Greece, and I'm looking forward to going back there pretty soon. I want to go check out the islands. But there was this great epiphany that came over me because I started looking at things from a different angle, like while I was away, and just being so far away enough and so long enough, the time that had passed, that all my life I started thinking that there were so many insignificant things I've been holding on to and worrying about, as we all do, to certain degrees. I'm not really too much of a worry guy anymore, but there's certain things on my heart sometimes. And so when I started approaching these things from a place that was not necessarily the same, we'll just say the same perspective. I was in a whole different environment. I was dealing with a whole nother set of rules. it was just it was a complete like 180 from what I was normally used to, and it got me to think different. You know, I was showing up in these environments, and these environments were responding to me. I was responding back to it. And I realized also by being bold with my decision making that the universe kept rewarding me. There was all these great manifestations that kept happening, synchronicities I was paying attention to. And it really became a magical experience once I got in that flow. And then looking back, like I said, I was training my mind. I ended up doing this workshop online. It was a 5-day program, and I was completely just re-emerging as a new person and reprogramming my subconscious mind to something brand new in regards to some of these so-called problems. And so I witnessed that shift while I was over there. And when I came back, like I said, I got up at night, middle of the night, I'm like half asleep, I'm bumping into things. And I was just like, where the heck am I? But I looked in the mirror and I said, well, who the hell is this guy? Because a lot had changed, a lot had shifted. I wasn't in that same frame of mind that I was, you know, when I took off. It was setting intentions. It was being clear about how we could always reinvent ourselves and become something brand new. And for those who have been following the channel, my last video in Miami about being in the different rooms, well, I stand by that. Like, you have to put yourself in different environments and situations in order to see who you truly are. When you have that opportunity, or just going for it on your own and staying, you know, completely disciplined to the process of your highest ideal. And I can't really explain that for everybody. I can only, you know, sometimes explain that for me, because everything's shifting to such a degree. Like I said, I'm not really sure what's going to emerge from all of this, but I do get hints. You know, I get hints and I get these visions and I follow through on these visions. And so anyway, not to digress, when I came back, you know, there was a little bit of residue from some things still from when I left. But again, reprogramming the subconscious, being able to get into a different frame of mind, being able to bring that energy back with me, because there was so much free energy. You know, I took my iPad with me and I was doing some writing on this novel. I've had this idea for a few years. I've been doing character development, really staying steady on it, even with the exception of my travels and other things that have happened in these last couple years. You know, I started this thing in 2022, really mapping it out. And I started noticing me just sitting at these cafes and me doing the writing. And I was taking all the energy that was coming to me. It was like, you know, beautiful people walking this way, beautiful people walking past this other way. It was the waitress. It was, you know, the architecture. It was the environment. It was the wind in the air. It was the sounds. It was the laughter. And so I started realizing, man, all this free energy is really for us. There's something really inspiring here. And so as I'm here and I'm getting back and I'm dealing with a little bit of residue still, I approached it with all this brand new awareness, all this brand new energy. And I tell you the truth, that there's been this transmutation. The conversation has changed from within. And I believe that's really what needs to happen, is that conversations within ourselves need to change within in order to fill the big shifts. Again, that may not always be going to travel as I did or writing a novel. That's going to come in your own particular authentic code that was meant for you in this moment. And I got that insight a few years ago as I was meditating my higher self. And it was basically telling me, if you could already see yourself doing something, you're already in there 90% of the way. That's why I joke about this, but it's true. That's why, you know, I'm not over here thinking about doing ice hockey. So guess what? You're not really going to see me on a pair of skates. You know, it's true. But anything that I am completely invested in mentally, spiritually, internally, you're going to see me doing just that at certain degrees, at certain times. And so, again, it was enough, me being away long enough was enough for me to understand that, you know, some of these things were insignificant now. Really. You know, some of these things were insignificant. I was holding on to them from an old state of being, which was my former, you know, smaller self, the things that were being revealed to me through these quote-unquote problems or situations, when in reality, everything was a great gift being handed to me. Now, if I just learned to stop and focus, and I learned to stop judging, which we hear this all the time. Anybody who's paid attention to the manifestation coaches or spiritual teachings and things, or quantum dynamics, a lot of people will say just remain unattached, remain centered without judgment. That's sometimes easier said than done, but it is the truth. I believe that there's great things that could come out of that by not defining anything. And if you are going to define it, reach for the highest ideal. Change the conversation from within. You're only having a bad conversation with this person because they are a representation of something inside of you that is causing some tension. There's something there, maybe a little lack of faith. I believe that's why these things arise out of us, to get us to notice these things so we can become the full expansiveness of everything. And again, you know, we walk into a room where we're changing the temperature. Everywhere we go, we're changing the temperature. The rooms we walk in, you know, just the simple fact that you walked in with your own awareness changed everything. So we're all, you know, again, sort of playing these roles, and we have this opportunity to step into the fullness of everything we are right now, not needing to wait any longer for what's going to happen in the future, which is, like I said, a lot of people get caught up in that situation too. Well, I'm going to be happy when this happens, or I'm going to stop worrying when this happens, or when this happens, when this happens. It's like, no, you just got to take life where it's at. Love who you are. And imagine, you know, everything right now already being complete and whole and fulfilled. And imagine everything being your highest ideal without trying to control anything. Everything will come back in its proper form. And that's one thing that I learned. Man, it's so gorgeous out here. Oh, if I could trade things off, I must admit, I love the Czech because the weather was very similar to northern Idaho. Very, very similar. However, I can do without the winters now. Winters have been a little bit challenging, although I don't want to put that out there again. I don't want to contradict myself. But the thing is that if I could take the weather from here, go to the Florida vibe, and be able to head to Greece and be on those islands, you know, in a perfect world. But that's what I'm going to manifest, right? A beautiful place with this weather, Florida vibes, head to Greece, on those islands, kick back. My manifestation right now, my perfection. That's where I'm going to rest. It's so easy. And so, ultimately, again, being able to stand there without judgment, being able to take the energy that's being given to you as a gift, and not like something's trying to harm you, but be there with everything, be present, be engaged with the moment to such a delight that you're living in the fullness of everything you're looking to experience. Everything from in, everything's come out. I can't think about the past, you know, and I was listening to somebody I've been digging on as far as like their talks and stuff, and he was just saying the same thing. It's like you cannot sit in regrets about the past and think about think about things in the same way. Oh, I made this mistake and I'm regretting this, and you can't change those things. Not from the place of, going back and torturing yourself. The only way you could truly change those things, really, in reality, is from spirit. You have to rewrite everything. You have to rewrite your code. You have to die again and resurrect. And I'm big on that. The life, death, resurrection part of life, it's all happening in these different chapters. And so, as I said, a little bit ago, just closing here, is that when you resurrect into something brand new and the awareness starts to shift, you'll start realizing what's always been there for you. And then there's no more definitions. It's like you're just watching the theater of reality, understanding that you had a part in it and you had a role to play in these particular moments, in these situations. You can still show up and emerge as God in whatever capacity you have faith to emerge as. The voice of reason, peace, love, truth, being still, holding space. While so many people may be panicking over something, you have that ability to step up and rise up and hold peace. Well, how do you do that without being manipulated by the outside energy? You have to know thyself. You have to know thyself internally. And that's why I'm saying again, just kind of repeating, how do you truly know thyself? Well, you know thyself because you hear that voice calling within, that intuition that's telling you to stretch out, that intuition that's telling you to let go, that intuition that's telling you to go for a hike and don't think about anything other than being in complete joy, which is what I'm doing right now. Not thinking about anything. And that's another amazing thing too, is having been on this amazing journey for the past month and a half, this new season here in my life, was I got to see the magic of, different places coming in and out. I mean, I saw so many people pass me on the street. Where will these people ever come back? I saw so many people pass it up on the street. I saw so many things, so many buildings, so many different scenes. I put myself in all these different scenarios, and now I'm back in this place called Northern Idaho. But all this is going to fade away too, and I'll be somewhere else. So what do we leave? What is the kind of impression we leave now in this moment? Knowing that this is always happening, the shifting, things are always coming and going. Do we hold on to it? Trying to grip at it with a reasoning external mind? No. I'm embracing everything internally, knowing that this is heaven right now, right where I stand in this moment. I've resurrected as everything. To be very consciously aware of that, and to understand that I've resurrected, I become everything. And I'm gonna leave at that. Hope somebody got something out of this. Had a lot of thoughts coming, I know. I'm just taking everything in and happy to be back. But I hope you guys have a lovely day. I'll be back with you guys soon. I'm definitely gonna do more walks on these, do more transmissions while I'm on these walks and things. As again, I mentioned, I got so used to walking in Europe. I'm like, I need to do some walking. I was walking every day. My adventures would be anywhere from 6 to 9 hours a day of just pure walking, exploring and traveling and talking to people. It was quite amazing. It changed my life. I have more things to say later on as I get into another transmission, but I'm gonna let everybody go. Again, enjoy your day. May peace be with you. And ultimately, the fulfillment of your desire is already here, regardless of what it looks like. lay your life down and rest in this truth. The fulfillment of everything that you are desiring is already here, and it's perfect. So just rest in that. All right? Peace and love.